Hey everyone, Owl here, and welcome back to a Tithe in Blood. We finished the first chapter where we discovered she can go back in time, but only to, like, 1800s Hokkaido, and she is trapped there, but they both have magical powers. Also, she has to use blood. She's a blood mage, so there you go. Now you're all caught up. That was the end of Chapter 1. Chapter 2. There we go. Act 1, Scene 2. The Free-Spirited Librarian. Not sure why I'm talking like that. Let's just get into it. With the taste of coffee from the station lingering in my mouth, I idly watch the scenery scroll by with weary eyes. Another day begins, my daily routine now so deeply ingrained that getting to the university requires little more than muscle memory. While I may want to visit Yasue again, practicing blood magic won't be possible until my body has some more time to recover. Until then, I've little choice but to live out another day in this world. The shadow people. I counted among my worst traits, but I've always had a tendency to eavesdrop. My attention drifts from one conversation between passengers to another, living vicariously through others without the bother of involvement in their lives. Others seem to be in a good mood from overheard clips of conversation. One salaryman talks to another about looking forward to the end of the week being a Friday. Schoolboys chat about their plans for the weekend and the new game they're into. Probably a Monster Hunter 27 at this point. My life may have stopped, but those of others have kept moving. Plucking my phone from my bag for distraction, I began to check various messaging apps to get across what I've missed. Plans are made and rumors spread, while cute pictures and jokes are posted. Memes. They're called memes. While I might have tried to keep in contact with friends from previous schooling, we inevitably drifted apart without the connection of being classmates. This is true. These days, such morning browsings just covers the day's news and message board threads. It's funny how different this is to Yasue's time. She couldn't... Whoa. The screeching of the train's brakes puts an abrupt halt to my thoughts. People yelping in surprise at the unexpected shuddering. The stop is so sudden that I'd have fallen if not for putting my foot out before me. Ooh. Someone on the tracks? I hope not. The momentary chaos at an end, I right myself and slip my phone back into my bag. Discontented passengers question and murmur as the train comes to a stop far from any station, soon quieting as a monotone voice from above echoes about the carriage. Stand clear of the closing doors. We apologize for the inconvenience. This train is currently stopped due to an accident on the line. The short, almost curt message only causes more consternation amongst the passengers. Others around me begin to quietly chat between themselves, some wondering if a train ahead of us has broken down or if the bitter cold has caused line problems. Some wonder aloud if someone's died. That was my guess. The scandalous excitement to their whispers barely hidden. Seconds turn to minutes. The train shows no signs of moving for some time yet. The more impatient passengers pace about the aisles, though more settled into reading of books or phones. When I lived in New York, it was routine for the trains to stop because there would be fire on the tracks. Because everyone in New York just decided they wanted to throw their trash into the subway tunnels. And if it touched the electrified third rail, it would catch on fire. It's like, subway fire, guys, we're going to be 5 minutes. So, I feel the pain. With the heat inside only growing more stifling, I look out at the snow-covered world outside with some longing. As I do, a movement catches my eye from the tracks below. Oh. Catching a glimpse of blue, I realize I've seen something I shouldn't have. A man in light blue coveralls slowly makes his way along the gravel towards the front of the train, his face downcast. Dirtied gloves hold a large roll of blue tarpaulin under his right arm. Oh, yeah, that sounds like a body. I've seen that material in the news. There's only one reason it would be used here and now. Suddenly finding myself restless, I turn back towards the other passengers. All that faces me is a scene of mild discontent as their mundane routine disrupted, ignorant to the cause. Without anything to do with the knowledge I have, I simply take out my phone and begin to scroll through the news feeds once more. And so one more passenger discontentedly waits for their routine to resume. I can understand that. Ooh, pretty. Is this our school? This is a nice looking school. The day slowly draws to an end. My last daylight hours spent in the university library, as they often are. The desk where the elderly librarian once sat lies empty. Her shawl left draped over the chair's back as a small, perhaps unintended tribute. Ever since she retired, the school has struggled to hire another. Or maybe she just left her shawl. If she's old and retired, maybe she might need that. The two of us had shared a silent agreement. I often remained in the library long past closing time, allowed to study while providing quiet company to the old lady as she worked to close up for the day. I enjoyed our quiet coexistence, free from expectations of more. A book sliding into place on a shelf ahead rouses me from my reverie, the new librarian busily working away. One Shino Kikuchi, according to the email which introduced the newest member of staff. Only hired in the last month, she's a stark difference from her elder in so many ways, not the least of which being her age. If I had to guess, she'd be in her early 20s at most. At least one thing is alike between them. She, too, lets me stay well into the evenings. Perhaps the old librarian passed a note to her. I'm thankful in any case. I hate being an imposition, but the school provides a far better environment for studying, given the solitude and loneliness of my faraway home. Looking back down to the book before me, a mundane bit of research material for my course, the words begin to dance as I try to read. The more I try to focus on the passages, the more my thoughts skate away. The same happened with lectures throughout the day. Oh no, another blood tingle. One shudder or another, in those last moments before the train stopped, was what a human life ending feels like. In that instant, their wanderings in this world ended. Unless they were isekai'd, which, let's be real, is an actual possibility. Yet, I have no other to tell. The same goes for the bandages running up my arm. They serve as an ever-present reminder of how little I have in common with everyone around me. I should have said this a while ago, but thanks for the company. Huh? The unexpected voice from the shelves ahead makes my head jerk upwards. I hadn't realized how rattled I've been from this morning's experience, my heart only now returning to its normal pace now that I have a distraction. Like so many others, the woman wears a smile so easily. I can't help but muse how odd she looks for a librarian, from her athletic clothing to how every movement belies a barely suppressed energy. Thank you for letting me stay. Evidently bored of her menial work in shelving books, Shino takes my reply as an invitation to have a proper conversation. Damn it. Setting down the book in her hand, she comes over and spins a chair about, sitting herself sideways in a rather inelegant way. While the relationship between Yasue and I may have a certain push and pull as we feel out each other's boundaries, Shino and I have no such concerns. Even now, her bright eyes move from me to the textbook in my hands, happily seizing on an opening to get closer to me. You can read Italian? That's cool. I know a few languages too. That's the way the world is these days, right? I guess so. I need it for my degree. She wants to chat. That too is a difference between Shino and the previous librarian. One I like rather less. Something throws me off about her. All the more so now that we're close. I can't quite put my finger on it though, making me feel bad once again for being so distrustful towards someone so friendly. As if in answer to my want to end the conversation, a playful ping resounds from Shino's pocket. Her hand dives into her pocket, quietly retrieving, and also quickly retrieving, her phone to examine the message. Her face lights up as she starts reading, the woman looking like a child given a new toy as she begins scrolling something or another with full attention. I don't particularly mind, we all have our appointments and such. A minute or so later, she fumbles with the on-screen Kana keyboard, slowly dragging her thumb across the grid to carefully type in her reply. Noticing my slightly baffled staring upon sending her message, she gives a grin. These things are pretty cool, aren't they? They might have just been for chatting before, but now it's all of cyberspace right in your pocket. The modern world's amazing. You could talk to anyone in the world so easily or read an entire library. What an antiquated way of speaking. I've never heard cyberspace used by anyone. At least, not without a thick sense of irony. Without intending to, I let my confusion show on my face. Did I say something wrong? No, not at all. It's just, I thought everyone was used to phones these days. She quickly puts her phone away into a pocket and takes to her feet once more, slightly embarrassed for my picking up on it. Well, how should I put this? I grew up in the country, so it's only recently that I've been able to try things like this. Computers and smartphones are all new to me, really. I suppose being a country bumpkin would explain it, or there's another time traveler, which is very likely. Though I thought even the most remote corners of Japan would have at least the cheaper smartphones around by now. If someone like Shino finds phones so exciting, maybe Yasue will too. Getting any signal for internet access is obviously a non-starter, though. What made you come to the city, then? Adventure, in a word. I tend to drift between jobs, taking on whatever's interesting. So this is just temporary for you, too. How long are you staying? She gives a simple shrug. Until I get bored of this one, I guess. What an odd attitude. I vaguely heard of people who drift from job to job as their whims take them, but this is my first time meeting someone like that. I'd be lying if I said I weren't a little envious of her approach to things. Isn't that hard? Nah, as long as you have the right attitude, life gets a lot easier. You have to dedicate yourself to something along the way, I think, even if it's something small. I always try to set things right in the world. If I can keep myself thinking that, what's going on at any one time isn't a big deal. Her words are said with such innocent naivety that I'm thrown off by the strange woman before me. It's not that I disbelieve that a drive to accomplish something is good, but more that it's hard to believe someone when they're so earnestly cling to it. Practically anything I've gotten myself into of late would be problematic to actually discuss with someone else, leaving me with nothing to continue the conversation. Thus, the distance between myself and others grows that little bit more. That isn't to say the carefree librarian is wrong, though. If there's any cause, any single thing I can believe in, it's freeing Yasue from that sealed world. She of all people doesn't deserve that fate, and I alone have the knowledge to even find her. Prompted by the thought of Yasue, my mind soon began wanderings of its own accord. If Shino wants to talk, I might as well try to get something useful out of her. I was wondering, do you know anything about mages? That's quite a change in topic. I saw a news article about a mage who works as a doctor a few days ago. It just made me curious. That's not entirely a lie. The odd news article or documentary about mages catches my eye these days, now that I know one. You are one! She doesn't believe she's one, but she is one. She can use blood magic. That's still an accomplishment, girl. Sorry, I digress. Shino shifts about discomforted by the subject. She quickly tries to paper over her reaction upon realizing I've noticed. They're an interesting lot, aren't they? There's so few around that you rarely get to see magic actually being used. It's more that... It's weird how people so different could be right beside us. That their experiences are so different, but nobody could tell. Do you think so? Your average mage isn't much different to a regular person, you know. It's sad how people are so distrustful of magic. I suppose they do keep their heads down, though. Besides, powerful mages are something else, right? In Europe, they live way more openly, and have ancient bloodlines who own whole palaces. What government would try to police you if you could break the laws of nature on a whim? I suppose that's why people get so cautious around mages, though. People fear what's different. I can only imagine how powerful a mage must have been to seal away a whole portion of the world. The entirety of Old Sapporo and its people, carved away from reality and lingering for an eternity. How anyone there hasn't gone mad is beyond me. Shino's earnestness is no less visible on this topic than the last. Her angst over people's dislike of mages is quite clear. She hardly seems the type to hide her feelings, earning her some degree of trust, even if I do dislike her nosiness. Whee! Realizing the time is getting on as the sun begins to set further, I file away Shino as a potential source of information, as I get up and slide the book into my bag. Reading. Heading home? I should head back before I get too tired. Thank you again for letting me stay so long. My pleasure. Endlessly stacking books in this big building all by myself gets lonely. With that, I give an appreciative nod before pulling my coat from the seat and slinging it over my shoulders, my bag following before I start shuffling out of the library. It wasn't a lie that I needed to head back before I got too tired, but the reason goes unsaid. Tonight, I'll renew my efforts on studying my other reading material. If I'm to devote myself to some cause or another, then that cause will be something only I can do. My concerns already begin to feel fleeting as I focus myself on the task at hand. From now on, my purpose in life will be freeing Yasue from her gilded cage. And then we discover she's a moiterer, and she was locked up for a reason. Whoopsie daisies. Oh, Act 1, Scene 3, a different time. Oh, that was a short one. Sword and spear ring out as they clash, voices bellowing and men falling as their vibrant cloth swirls about in the violence. No less vivid are the heartfelt expressions from the deepest fury to the most devastating anguish. From my seat in the audience, I watch on silently with rapt fascination. Kushigura, a tale of 47 Ronin and their quest to avenge their master, starring Keanu Reeves, of all people, caught between loyalty to their late lord and duty to the shogunate. It actually wasn't really that bad of a film, strangely enough. The story reaches its blade conclusion. The villain cut down and their lord's spirit at peace. For going against the shogun, however, all will sacrifice themselves for their deeds. It is a stirring performance, the actors' heartfelt cries and gestures feeling more visceral than any pictures on a screen. Like most my age, I'd thought theater a little old-fashioned, obsoleted by movies and TV shows. How wrong I was. Woo! Encore! The crowd's applause, joined by my own, echoes about as the heavy curtain draws across the stage. Another fine work coming to an end. The play is apparently frequently performed here, being very popular in its time, and a favorite of Yasue. Ooh, we're back in the 1800s again. It's no wonder either. This is a heartfelt tale of honor in an era in search of a cause. Into the tumultuous upheaval of a feudal society becoming a modern imperial power, it's inevitable that many would remember a simpler, somewhat fictional past. Chushingura even resonates with someone like me. It isn't that honor doesn't exist anymore in my own time, albeit in a different form, but that it's distant, something you only hear about on the news. The curtains soon withdrawn once more, slowly revealing the performers and their director. Yasue stands at the center of the stage, bowing with so many men flanking her. Some are sturdy, while others are slender, some elegant, and others brutish. All natures and appearances are represented, each having given their all in the grand play. Yet not one of the actors was human. Another round of applauses ensues from the crowd, who are no less delighted by the illusion than the performance itself. Of course, I'm among them. No matter how many times I see it, Yasue's magic still amazes me. Dang, that's a grand illusion for an entire play? That's gotta take a lot of mana. Or whatever they use as their source of magic in this world. With little to occupy myself with following the play, and little desire to intrude in the lives of others, I quietly wait for Yasue outside the large venue, a task made easier by the cool night air. Life goes by slowly here. That contrast is one of the most jarring things about our two worlds. Even the most patient modern people have a sense of urgency about them. They're always thinking of things they need to do, people to meet, and news to read. Here, the old man urging his horse on simply pines for a meal and bath, his day's work over. Clip-clop, clip-clop. As Yasue finally leaves the venue, I call out to her. The way her shoulders relax a little when she sees me waiting doesn't go missed. I trust you enjoyed the show? Of course, I don't get to see Kabuki much, and definitely nothing like that. Yasue gives an indulgent smile at the praise, the two of us starting on our way down the street. It's hard to believe that the road we walk is the very same one I've so often visited downtown, the street layout uncannily familiar. Even as we walk, the odd passerby gives an appreciative bow or word of thanks to Yasue. Her only response each time is a humble, almost shy bow. Yasue must be one of those grand mages Shino mentioned, yet she herself never mentioned how powerful she was. Far from finding herself flustered by those around us, she instead turns to me for conversation. I did have one question about the modern world. Is Kabuki still enjoyed? Do you know if my venue is still there? I feel a little pained by her clear hope for a different answer than I can give. In a world of movies, phones, and streaming, theater is largely relegated to the more culturally refined. Modernity continued unquestioned. Her theater is little more than a small plaque in the real world, one of many minor landmarks commuters unknowingly walk by every day. Were it not for Yasue's interest in the topic, I wouldn't have noticed the unremarkable sign myself. Said plaque never mentioned Yasue, though. Odd for someone who seems to have practically created the venue's reputation. People have a lot of entertainment available to them these days, so it's usually the older generation who still attends. Theater still has a good audience on the mainland, though. Not so much around Sapporo, but amateur kabuki still performs here every so often. I try to put as positive a spin on it as I can, but the slight clouding to her expression is enough to see I failed. It's difficult to communicate just how much she's missed in over 100 years, much of it harrowing and depressing. Trying to move the topic to more palatable ground, I speak first. With all your magic, what drew you to use it for kabuki? Mages are often a little eccentric. Our nature tends toward that which normal society doesn't understand, that isolation changing us. When I saw how delighted people were with what I conjured, I decided then and there to keep doing this for a living. If only my sister had the same desire to remain rooted with common people. She never mentioned she had a sister. Even now her words are more mumbled to herself rather than directed towards me. There don't exactly seem to be many mages around. I've never seen one before meeting you. I can only speak for Sapporo, but I guess there are only about a few dozen maybe in the city? It's difficult to know for sure because many hide their powers, or live away from common people as hermits. Maybe they don't know their power? Yasue gives a reflexive snort at the idea, the crude amusement at odds with her otherwise calm and collected nature. She soon answers my confused reaction. That would be impossible, as forgetting you could see. No mage could simply forget their sense of magic. Oh, I see. Sorry, I really don't know much of anything about this. You say that, but you seem to leave this sealed world quite easily. I think to myself about how to communicate such a thing, ending up with another clumsy analogy just as Yasue had used. If I had to put it one way, it feels like holding a rock. Letting go, returning to my normal world is easy. On the other hand, getting here is like making a rock on the ground float up into my hand. Even though I can do this reliably now, it still feels surreal. Does that make any sense? That makes altogether too much sense, actually. I couldn't have described the magic any better myself. With this, she emphasizes her point by conjuring a fan into her hand. Magic doesn't fit the laws of physics. We're denying reality, and so reality works against whatever magic's being used. Therefore, maintaining anything magical takes active effort. To use your words to keep a rock in the air, you have to hold on to it. Simply let your hands loose and... whoosh. With that, her fan dematerializes in a moment. It drops to the ground. Perhaps you're not as ignorant to our ways as you think. I still need to learn more about all this. Sorry if you don't like me questioning you all this time. On the contrary, I actually rather like the sense of curiosity you have about you. Have you tried asking your friends about them? I don't have friends to ask. I'm not really the type. You seem rather approachable to me. Here I was worried. Whoever might arrive in this world would be some aloof old mage growing haughty and arrogant from skill and age. She gives an earnest smile to show her sincerity. Maybe it's only our being forced together by these strange circumstances, but having the company of Yasue is something I'm grateful for. For all she accepts my questions of her, Yasue never pries into my own affairs. Besides, everyone would seem approachable to her. So many walk up to Yasue in the street, the powerful mage thinking nothing of speaking to them as equals. It would be so easy to become aloof and arrogant with that kind of power. She's so easygoing, and has so many skills and interests. In every way, Yasue's a far better person than I. How unfair it is that someone like her instead of me would be so cruelly sealed away. Aw, girl, don't be hard on yourself. As we turn a corner, Yasue's soft voice speaks again. I did have one more question, actually. Where did you get the idea that I was powerful? You have nobody to compare me with, right? The new librarian at my university wanted to chat with me, so I asked about magic. I thought I should know more about something I'm using. Oh, you're in a university. That's wonderful. May I ask what you're studying? I'm a little taken aback by Yasue's excitement, for remembering the context. University must have been rare to go to in her time, let alone for a woman. Humanities, literature mainly. Well now, how useful that you found yourself in the past. Western, literature. The pace of the conversation comes to a stop. Yasue left with an awkward smile. We almost find a common wavelength so often, only to miss by so little each time. Then again, if I hadn't been for my interest in European literature, I'd never have ordered that book on blood magic. I wouldn't have had the patience to slowly read through the handwritten pages either. My well-thumbed Italian dictionary at hand all the while. What would I put as my bibliography, even if I could use something I found here? A friend told me? I thought you said you didn't have any friends. That was a cheap rhetorical trap, and her teasing face shows she knows it. That said, I find myself rolling the idea around in my head like a sweet. The thought suddenly comes to my mind that I brought something along, thanks to chatting with Shino days earlier. My hand dives into my pocket to retrieve my phone, but before I can show it to her, a cheerful red packet slips out and falls to the ground first. Yasue's curiosity takes control as she quickly stoops down and takes it in her hands. Chocolate! What's this? Oh, I completely forgot about buying that. It's just some chocolate. Yasue hardly hears me, entirely captivated by the relic of my world as she turns the packet this way and that. She's probably unable to read the English branding, and unused to the modern packaging to begin with. It's a little charming, actually. She's hardly shy about her bewilderment, instead happily playing with the foil edges and trying to make sense of the slogans and marketing. Chocolate. I've heard about this. It's a medicine that's sold in Tokyo. So this has finally made it to Hokkaido then. Oh, it's not medicine, just a food. A sweet, I guess. She's not making a secret of wanting to eat it, very visibly stopping herself from asking. I feel like a mother whose kid is begging at the store. You can have it, they're cheap. I'm a little startled by how quickly she begins to work on the wrapper and how clumsily she rips it apart. It's easy to forget just how ingrained so many everyday things are to a modern person, like the specific ways packets are designed to open. No sooner did she take a mouthful of the chocolate inside than her face lights up in delight. It's so sweet! She continues munching away, raising her free hand to poorly hide her chewing mouth. Ah, the modern world has so many wonderful things. So Yasue has a sweet tooth. I wonder when sugary treats reach Hokkaido. She might have only ever had bean and rice-based confectionery. Sugar would be terribly sweet compared to anything she's had before. As she savors the last few morsels from the packet, I reach in and take the phone from my pocket once more, usually having left it charging when I came here in the past. Yasui gulps down the last of her chocolate as I bring it up between us, her puzzled face reflecting off its shiny black screen. She jerks back a little in surprise as the screen lights up. Eager to see what she makes of it, I unlock the phone and hand it over to her. What's this? A phone. A phone, you say? Here, you can tap on the screen to do things. I give a couple of taps here and there to show opening an app and such before Yasui gives it a try for herself. I don't think she quite understands it all, but her face lights up as she slowly gets the hang of it. As Yasui fiddles about, she manages to discover moving things by dragging left and right, and opening controls by tapping completely by herself. I'm surprised she worked it out so quickly, but I suppose she's still just human. It's not like I understand how a phone really works, I just use it. Ooh, photo. What's this? As she lowers the phone for me to see, it appears Yasui's managed to open the camera app, the viewfinder currently pointed down at our feet. Oh, mobile phones are also cameras these days. You can take photos by pressing this button. The idea seems to have stumped an already perplexed Yasue. Click. I take the phone back to guide her through how the camera works, changing to the front camera and holding it up to show both of us on screen. It's admittedly a little clumsy, I've never been one for selfies, and keep trying to move the phone the wrong way to keep us in the shot. The look of sheer glee on Yasue's face when it all clicks for her, though as seen on the screen before us, makes it all worth it. I can't help but smile at the absurdity of the situation as the two of us crowd into the swaying frame. Click. With some difficulty, I manage to somehow maneuver a finger onto the shutter button, finally taking the shot with a loud click. Bringing the phone down between us, I show Yasue the saved photo, her face leaning in close to take in every detail. Incredible! Everything's so colorful, and we didn't even have to stay still. How did it develop so fast? It's probably a bit complicated to explain, but photos like this don't need to be developed. It's not going onto film. I'm so used to the digital era that the days of film cameras slipped my mind. As I replaced the phone in my pocket, Yasue rights herself, but the excited energy from her new discovery still remains. I have to remind myself yet again that this woman's actually the older of us. Thank you, Hanaka. For the first time in so long, I feel like I have some connection to the real world of the... which era is it now? After the Meiji era, it went Taisho, Showa, Heisei, and now Reiwa. Reiwa. How lovely a name. Those in your era must live an amazing life. And the food as well, it's so nice! I hold my tongue, but it's all so ordinary to me that I hardly notice such things day to day. To Yasue, though, this might as well have been another world entirely. Her childlike joy is quite charming. It feels nice to have helped her, however accidental it might have been. I wonder just how long it's been since I've helped another. I'm so wrapped up in my own feelings that it takes a moment to realize Yasue's attention has shifted back to me. A smile suits you. In a moment, my face collapses. It's not that I hate her well-meaning compliment, but somehow it doesn't feel right to smile. Not after everything that's happened. I don't know how you smile so easily, especially after being sealed away. It's been over 100 years now. My age, the people of this world, everything unchanging. I wasn't always like this. The worst of my time here was the period I entertained escape, but every moment I failed to find a way out was a moment in the company of loved ones that I lost. How have you lived for so long, though? You don't look old at all. Why, thank you. Mages, powerful ones anyway, can tap a little of their magic to slow their aging. It's not unusual for some to live perhaps triple a normal lifespan, or even more. I could have taken the easy way out and not done so, but... I couldn't let myself die here. not in the prison she set me to wander. My revenge of her would have been my final play, if only she still lived. For the first time, I catch a glimpse of something darker in her. Without thinking, I take a step back, my chest tightening at the change from her otherwise gentle nature. Oh. Our spidey sense. The cheerful red packet, crumpled up in her tightening hand, reminds her of the here and now. Yasui forcing the thoughts from her mind, given my presence. It's only natural to hate anyone who did such a thing to her, but I didn't know she had such anger bottled up. This isn't your concern, though. Let's end talk of that matter. I see much has changed in your world, if not mine. Pants are common now, for one. She gives a small smile, trying to distract herself with a lighter topic. I can't help but feel awful, but I humor Yasui for her sake. I wouldn't say it to her now of all times, but this world reminds me a little of a snow globe. A small slice of the world captured at one point in time, and now everlasting. A world where the company of strangers is all she had. Don't worry. Kimono and yukata are still worn, especially for festivals and events. I wore one to the fireworks, actually. I'd like to see that. You'd look pretty in one. Every so often, she oversteps into undeserving compliments. I get that she wants to put me at ease, though. One of my earliest memories as a child is of standing around in my yukata, all ready to go, but the festival being cancelled. To cheer me up, my parents took me to see fireflies instead. When I saw them, I thought they were better than the fireworks. They almost looked magical as a child, floating about in the night's darkness. That's sweet. It's been a long time since I saw those. Spidey sense. It's been a long time for me as well. Fireflies are hard to find anymore, with increasing pollution and less wilderness. I feel an altogether too familiar pang of regret at mentioning my family, my body going cold at the idea of having to think about this any further. This is the one place I'm free from that feeling. Why did I have to bring that up? Please don't speak anything further about them, Yasui, please. Soon that wish becomes altogether too true. The silence makes it clear Yasui's been taken off guard, acutely aware of the topic to avoid. As I feel pain from clutching at my arm, I decide to use the one excuse to leave that I told myself I wouldn't. I should be going. I'm feeling tired. That's fine, Hanaka. Take care of yourself. For what it's worth, I'm glad you count me as a friend. Everyone needs some, even if you might not believe it. That's why I took up theater, after all. Thanks, Yasui. I'll see you later. With that, I take a deep breath and close my eyes. Even as the magic begins to take hold, my mind is elsewhere. I can't make the world a better place, as Shino is working towards. I'm too selfish and too useless to do something like that. What I can do is help this one person. Act 1, Scene 4, A Hidden People! Alright. So, that's gonna be the end of today's episode. We've learned that our mage friend has some secrets and has probably killed people. So, that's fun. And the librarian is also probably a secret mage. And there's also probably other time travelers. So, there's a lot of stuff to look forward to. So, thank you for watching. If you liked what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe. If you didn't like what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe anyway. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye!